Ladies and gentlemen, visionaries, dreamers, and future billionaires, listen closely. I'm about to tell you something powerful, something simple, and something they don't teach you in school. If your goal is to build real wealth, stop chasing money. Instead, chase a problem worth solving. That's the real key. No secret formulas, no hidden codes. Just this. Find a real problem and solve it. You don't need a wealthy family, a Silicon Valley zip code, or a fancy wardrobe to succeed. You don't need to wake up at 3 a.m. and gamble on crypto, like a raccoon poking at a vending machine. That's not strategy. That's just chaos dressed up in tech. What you really need is something most people overlook. Clarity, the ability to spot problems that others ignore. To hear someone complain and think, hold on, what if I could fix that? To get annoyed by something in daily life and say, there must be a better way, and maybe I'm the one to create it. Think about every great business story. Every successful entrepreneur started by solving something real. Uber didn't begin with dreams of profit. It started with the hassle of getting a ride. Airbnb wasn't born from a love of hospitality. It came from travelers asking, where can I sleep tonight? Amazon? Jeff Bezos didn't chase billions. He noticed that people struggled to find books, and he decided to fix that. Wealth didn't chase these people because they wanted to be rich. It chased them because they provided answers the world needed. So if you're serious about becoming wealthy, don't keep asking, how can I make money? Start asking, whose life can I improve today? That mindset changes everything. Here's a funny reality. Most people say they want to be rich, but they don't want to do anything to earn it. They want to sleep 10 hours a night, binge Netflix all evening, scroll through TikTok for half the day, and somehow expect to hit millionaire status by the weekend. That's not ambition. That's a fantasy. Let's be real. You're not broke because money ran away from you. You're broke because you're not solving any problems people care about. When I launched Alibaba, people laughed. Jack, you don't even understand the internet. They were right, I didn't. But I understood something more important. Small business owners in China couldn't connect with global customers. That was a real problem. So I built a solution. I didn't start with the goal of becoming the richest man in China. I started with a mission to fix a pain point. That's how you build something meaningful. Stop saying, I want to earn $1 million. Start saying, I want to help 1 million people. Because money follows value. And if you're not creating value, money will run from you like a mosquito runs from garlic. Now here's another myth. People think you need to be a genius to solve problems. That's just not true. If I were a genius, I would have been a professor. But I failed the college entrance exam twice. Harvard turned me down 10 times. Even KFC wouldn't hire me. Yes, KFC. That's how bad it was. When fried chicken says no, you know it's time to build your own path. So don't wait to be Einstein. In fact, being too smart can slow you down. Smart people overthink everything. They worry about failure, about embarrassment, about aliens landing mid-pitch. Forget all that noise. Keep it simple. Ask yourself this. What annoys people every single day, and can I fix it? That's where gold lives. You don't need to invent the next iPhone. You don't need to be Steve Jobs. You could be Steve Jobs' next-door neighbor who says, everyone hates juggling 3 remotes. Why not just build one that does it all? That's how you win. Let me paint you a funny picture. Imagine someone says, why is it that I always run out of toilet paper at the worst possible moment? That right there is a real, everyday problem. Now, picture someone clever hearing that and saying, what if we invent a smart toilet paper holder that sends a phone alert when you're down to your last 10 sheets? Sounds ridiculous, right? But if it solves a real issue, people will buy it. That's how business works. The biggest opportunities often lie in solving problems people didn't even realize had solutions. Take Uber, for example. Traditional taxis were slow and unreliable. Uber streamlined the process, and just like that, a billion-dollar idea was born. Look at Airbnb. Hotels were pricey and limited. They came up with a way for regular people to rent out their homes. And boom, another billion-dollar company. Even bubble tea came from someone saying, "Tea is getting boring." And now, teenagers around the world happily poke holes in plastic lids with oversized straws. Young people often approach me, eyes full of excitement, saying, "Jack, I've got a game-changing idea. It's going to change everything." I smile, not because I think they're wrong, but because I want to ask just one thing. Does your idea actually solve a real problem? You see, many people are deeply in love with their ideas, just like someone who's convinced they're amazing at karaoke. It sounds perfect in your mind, but the moment it hits the real world, everyone's running for the exit. Some ideas are like bringing diet soda to a barbecue. Nobody asked for it, nobody wants it, and it solves nothing about the hunger or the heat. If you're serious about starting a business, don't fall for every flashy trend. Don't say, "AI is the big thing right now. I need to build something with AI." You can barely figure out a pivot table in Excel, and now you want to create a robot therapist? Let's slow down and get real. Begin with something simple, something local, something annoying. Look around your home. What's one thing your mom complains about every single day? Ask your neighbor what feels overpriced, slow, or needlessly complicated. Visit your school and pay attention to what students constantly grumble about. You're not trying to impress investors. You're trying to make someone's life a little bit easier. Your first business doesn't need to go viral. It doesn't have to raise millions or get featured in tech magazines. It doesn't even need a glossy website. What it does need is to work, to help someone. That's the foundation of real business and real wealth. Forget hype. Solve a real problem, and the rest will follow. And here's something important to remember. Solving a real problem won't just earn you money. It'll give your life meaning. Yes, money can buy you a mattress, but not restful sleep. It can buy meals, but not hunger. It can get you a house, but not peace of mind. But when you help someone, when your idea improves their life, that gives you something money can't touch. Purpose, pride, and deep satisfaction. When someone comes up to you and says, "Thank you, what you made truly helped me," that feeling is the richest reward you'll ever experience. That's real success. Here's something wild but true. When you genuinely add value to people's lives, they don't just notice, they gladly give you their money. Let me break down what I call the 3 levels of wealth creation. Level 1. The hustler stage. This is where you're chasing cash in any way you can. Flipping sneakers online. Jumping on every passing trend. You might make some quick bucks, sure, but it's like eating fast food. Satisfy in the moment, but it won't nourish your future. No lasting impact. No real foundation. Level 2. The value builder. Now you're creating something that actually helps people. Maybe it's an app that saves them time, or a service that makes life easier. People begin to trust you. They remember your name. You start to build influence, not just income. Level 3, the problem solver. This is where the real magic happens. You don't just sell a product. You solve a massive problem. You change the game for an entire industry. You build things that touch lives on a massive scale. Hospitals, schools, platforms, entire communities. Now you're making impact, not just money. So now, ask yourself, honestly, which level are you operating on? If your sights are still stuck on level 1, you're not aiming for wealth. You're just trying to survive. It's time to wake up. Here's something critical to understand about people. We pay to avoid inconvenience. We pay to skip effort. Think about it. We order takeout because we don't want to cook. We pay extra for pre-cut fruit. We even use apps that save us just a few seconds of time. The truth is, people will gladly spend money to be lazy, comfortable, or stress-free. So the real question becomes, how can you make someone's life easier, faster, or more enjoyable? If you figure that out, you've found your business idea. Let's be real. Some of you have turned scrolling into an Olympic sport. You consume content all day like it's a career. You watch YouTubers, influencers, entrepreneurs, and you say you want to be rich, yet you spend hours watching others live their dream while you do nothing for yours. Here's the truth. If you spend all your energy watching success, you'll have none left to build your own. Stop being just a viewer. Become a creator. Make something. Anything. Build a tool. Design a product. Film a video. Offer a service. Start now, even if it's awkward, even if it's rough around the edges. Remember, the very first iPhone wasn't perfect, but it started a revolution. Excuses? They're the most expensive things people carry around. I'm too young. I'm too old. I'm too tired. Now's not the right time. Let me ask you, when you're starving, do you wait for the perfect sunset before you eat? Of course not. You eat. So why wait for the perfect moment to chase your dream? You don't need the best idea on day one. What you need is momentum. Start small and improve constantly. Real success doesn't show up because the conditions are perfect. It shows up because you took action anyway. Some folks treat success like it's customer service. Hello? I'd like to file a complaint. I failed. Can I get a refund and a millionaire upgrade? Sorry, it doesn't work like that. Don't waste your time wishing for luck. Instead, focus on becoming so helpful, so valuable, that people can't afford to ignore you. If you're genuinely useful, people will seek you out. When demand for your help rises, wealth follows. That's not theory, that's truth. You don't need a prestigious degree. You don't need a sleek office. You don't need venture capital or viral fame. You don't need to build a flying car or invent some overly complicated app no one understands. What you do need is simple: the ability to recognize a real-world problem and the guts to solve it. That's it. That's a formula. And it works. Let me share a story with you. I once came across a man who made a living selling bananas. Yes, plain, regular bananas. Not banana-themed digital art. Not banana-flavored protein shakes. Just actual bananas. But this man wasn't your typical street vendor shouting deals at passers-by. He paid attention to people, and that changed everything. He noticed something odd. Office workers weren't eating bananas during lunch. Not because they didn't like fruit, and not because bananas were too pricey. The real reason? Most of them were either too rushed or just too lazy to peel a banana in the middle of a busy day. Now, here's where things get interesting. Instead of complaining or giving up, this man came up with a clever solution. He began peeling the bananas himself, slicing them into small, neat portions, packing them in clean, easy-to-carry boxes, and delivering them right before lunchtime at offices. No fancy branding, no website, no social media campaign. Just straightforward value delivered where it was needed most. And what happened? He started pulling in $10,000 a month selling bananas. People mocked his idea in the beginning, but he got the last laugh and a healthy bank account. Why? Because he wasn't selling fruit. He was selling convenience. He solved a problem no one even realized was a problem. So, the next time you doubt your idea, thinking it's too simple or too small, remember the peeled banana guy. Every day, people complain about things. This is annoying. This takes too long. Why isn't there a better way? What they're really saying is, please, someone fix this for me. That's your opportunity. And don't tell yourself, but I don't have money. That's not a disadvantage. That's your superpower. No money means you'll be forced to think creatively. Use what you do have: your mind, your energy, your relationships, your time. When I started Alibaba, it wasn't from a skyscraper or $1 million office. It was in my apartment with 18 people. We didn't have capital, but we had a mission. We saw a problem, and we went after it with heart and hustle. So if you're not wealthy yet, maybe the real issue is you haven't found the right problem to solve. If you truly want to be rich, stop obsessing over money. Start focusing on real issues people face. Solve those. Bring value. Make life easier, more efficient, or more affordable for others. The more lives you improve, the more wealth you'll build. Solve a meaningful problem, and the world won't just pay you, it'll reward you generously. Solve a real issue, and people won't forget your name. Solve a problem that matters, and you won't need to chase money ever again. It'll come chasing you. So get out there, look around, spot a problem, build a solution. And when you hit your first million, remember this moment, because it all started with one simple truth. Real success comes from solving real problems. Thank you.